Ceilings made of corrugated sheets, fast and convenient. But how to insulate, slope, and cover? You will see in a moment. We are going to insulate and slope this roof with monolithic foam concrete, which will then be covered with roofing material. It will be possible to play golf on this roof, but the customer has plans for decorative lanterns and a tree that will grow through the middle of the roof. It should take less than a month from laying the corrugated sheet to the last piece of roofing material, so let's get started. The roof area is 1,600 square meters. There is no flashing on 3 sides, and the 4th side has to join the fresh semi-dry screed that has already been laid. But there is a nuance that I will show you in a minute. The water inlets are already located according to the plan. There are 9 of them, and even the perimeter formwork is almost ready, which means we can start installing the lighthouses. But first, a word of caution. Sorry, it will be a bit boring now, but it is very important. The cut of the semi-dry screed, namely its upper side, should be the height from which water will be drained in different directions. But since making such a screed is pure creativity, the guys decided to curve this side. We wouldn't have minded, because the water would still be drained. The funnel is 1 meter high and the slope is very serious. But there is a decorative lantern nearby, which with a 99% probability should be flush with the roof. The difference between the lantern and the screed is about 20 centimeters, and we will not be able to compensate for it with foam concrete. After 2 hours of scratching the back of our heads, the absurdity of the situation eased a bit, and we decided to do the following. Move the height that was supposed to follow the screed line a couple of meters further. This way we can raise it to the level of the formwork, and it will look at least somewhat adequate. If this solution is not clear to you, let me know in the comments and I'll explain it in more detail. And now let's get down to business. As you might have guessed, you can't put a lot of weight on a profiled sheet, so we will do the slope and insulation with D200 foam concrete. For those who don't know, a cubic meter weighs 200 kilos. We'll pour 6 centimeters of D600 on top of the D200, and the roofing material will melt on top of it. And to prevent this mess from falling on someone's head from a height of 30 meters, we have already prepared a plywood formwork for us, which will probably withstand a horse if we want to lift it to the roof with a winch. Over many years of practice and rethinking, we have come up with the most effective way to set up lighthouses. We pull the rope across the roof, bending it to the required slope, and fix it tightly with additional legs made of a roof profile every meter. I should note that such beacons work well for liquid mixtures, such as foam concrete. The foam concrete is smoothed with a rule that is simply attached to a shovel or rake holder, and no one crawls on all fours with it on the roof, because we are for comfortable conditions. We constantly put heavy hoses on this cable during the pouring process, so it has to be sturdy. It won't hold a horse, but everything else is fine. We have to pour the D200 brand in 2 layers, because the thickness is from 25 to 40 centimeters, and because of the hydraulic pressure in the massive foam concrete. You will have to run knee-deep in this mess. D600 is already poured in 1 layer and pulled together by the rule on the beacons. If you have a question about where the beacons are for D200, they are not needed. We cut the rule so that it runs along the cable with the edges, and the middle part of the rule is lowered by 6 centimeters. There is nothing interesting about the pouring process, but what is really interesting is our technology. I talk about it in every video and will tell you about it again. We can pour 10 cubic meters of D200 per hour. This is a cosmic performance compared to the equipment you can find on YouTube. And you will find, if you look for it, how one person mixes all the components in a barrel, and then the foam concrete is pushed somewhere. We have all the components supplied through separate hoses, and on the roof they are mixed, and the finished foam concrete comes out through a 4-meter hose. We call this technology continuous. We developed it ourselves and are very proud of it. And while I was praising our achievements, the guys poured the entire roof, and you can see what it looks like right after it's poured. Of course, what kind of screed is it without cat tracks or a piece of foam that came from somewhere and ruined our work? The very next day, we could see the traces of the rule more closely. They are sanded over the entire roof area, and in the end, we get a smooth surface without irregularities. In the future, we only need to be afraid of rain. Because if we don't cover the foam concrete with waterproofing, it will soak up a lot of water like a sponge and dry until next summer. But not this time, because our colleagues are already unloading the primer, gas cylinders, roofing material, and in 2 days the roof will be completely ready. And with that, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.